Hi and welcome to my channel. So quitting your job, resigning from any job is going to be one of the best moments in your life, the best moment in your career, or one of the worst and saddest moments in your career, depending on the personal circumstances that have led to you quitting and resigning. So in this video, I'm going to tell you how to quit your job in a way that is so respectful, so dignified, so empathetic, and with so much class, finesse, and just like splendor. So if you're new to my channel, you're welcome. It's a pleasure to have you. If you're a returning subscriber, look, I really do appreciate the time you take to watch these videos over and over again. And most importantly, a special thank you to those of you that are implementing what it is that I'm talking about in these videos, because look, I'm all about implementation. I'm not here to give you information. I'm here to support you implement this so that you can thrive, you can excel, and you can continue to grow in your career, whatever it is. So before we get started, I'm going to be doing a live session at the end of this month where I'm going to be talking about career progression in the UK. So if you're somebody who is already in the UK right now, or you're still out of the UK, planning to come to the UK, you 100% want to check the comment section below. You see a link to my newsletter. Click on that link, put your name and email, and instantly I'm going to send you the link to join that live session. It's going to be on Zoom. It's not going to be on YouTube, and that's because I want it to be as interactive as possible so that you can get the most out of it. Why is career progression important? Why should you be bothered about career progression? Why should you be invested in career progression? Why is this year the year for implementation? Why am I so fussed about stressing and doing all these videos about career progression? So you want to join that live session, and if you haven't subscribed, obviously hit subscribe. If you like the content, again, just like the video. So like I was saying, there's a way that you can quit from your job that is with so much finesse and, most importantly, so much respect. And I'm going to give you the guideline for that and the steps to follow. Because look, I have a private coaching program. By the way, if it's your first time here, my name is Melvis. I currently work for the NHS in England as an advanced nurse practitioner. I also have a private career coaching service where I support nurses, carers, student nurses, prospective student nurses, UK aspirants, people that want to get into clinical, non-clinical healthcare jobs, to secure those jobs in the UK. So if you're a carer, for example, you're looking for the best opportunities, I can support you with that. If you're wanting to progress into nursing, you're like, oh my God, is it for me? Is it not? Or you're already a nurse and you want to just, progress in your career, become a specialist nurse, nurse manager, nurse anesthetist, nurse endoscopies, advanced nurse practitioner, whatever it is you want, or you just want to leave, bedside nursing and go into non-clinical healthcare roles. Look, I'm your girl because I'm all about that implementation, progressing, excelling, and thriving for the top. So check out my private coaching program and 100% join to get that personalized and individualized support that is on offer. So when you're trying to quit your job, yes, it doesn't matter the circumstances, but this particular process and that I'm going to give you, it's the best way to proceed. The first thing you need to do, for example, is, why do you want to quit your job? You need to establish that. Why do you want to quit your job? You need to think about it. Why am I quitting? Are you feeling unsatisfied? Are you feeling, burnt out? Are you feeling that that's the wrong job for you to be in? Are you feeling like an imposter? Because there are some people that just feel like an imposter where they're working. And at the time right now, being a nurse myself in the UK, where over 62,000 nurses have left, healthcare within the last year, this is so relevant. Why are you quitting? You need to establish that. And then you need to think, when should you quit your job? If you think, I should quit my job now, I'm so ready. Look, you need to then go on to find another job. And I'm going to say, never quit a job until you've got another one. Never quit a job until you've got another one. If you're enjoying this content, like the video. If there's somebody that you know that this would help them, it's going to be of relevance to them, please do me the favor to share with them so they can have access to this content, access to this information. Because the more lives we can touch with this, the better. So if you say, look, I'm so ready to quit now, you need to then go to find a job. And like I say, never quit a job until you found another one. And when I say find a job, I mean you need to get onto the job market, put yourself out there, start applying for jobs. So you need to apply, you need to make sure that you're looking, what can you do, But look, the most important thing I'm going to say is never leave a job and go to the same position, except there are really, really special circumstances why you cannot progress. So when you're moving from one job to another, one organization to another, one town to another, one country to another, that is a perfect time for you to get that promotion, for you to get that career progression, for you to get that pay rise. You don't want to leave to the same position. For example, if you work for the NHS, if you don't have a special plan as to why you're leaving or why you can't leave to a higher banding, please don't leave to the same banding. For example, if you're a qualified nurse and you're band 5 working on ward A, you don't want to leave from ward A to ward B exactly the same position, band 5, because the length of time it takes you for you to get your bearings on that ward is probably going to be another, who knows, 1 year, 2 years, depending on what a fast learner you are. So you're going to be losing valuable time. For someone like me who is heavily invested in career progression, is something that I don't advise. You should always move to a more senior position or to a place where you're going to have more skill, more relevance, more experience, and then more satisfaction as well. Because otherwise, what's the point moving? Zero. So you want to make sure that when you're looking for a job, those are the things that you're considering, that you've got in mind. So once you found a job, obviously in a place like the UK, they want references. So with references, you need to put somebody from your current organization, and somebody cannot give you a reference, obviously, if you haven't told them that are going to give you a reference. You don't want them to, just get that email and be like, oh, Melvis, where you leaving? I'm really surprised. You don't want that to happen to the person that you're choosing as, to give you that reference. So you want to make sure that you approach that person once you've had the job. Look, until you've got the job, you must never tell anybody that you're leaving. Because you don't want it to become office gossip. Oh, Melvis is leaving. Oh, Melvis is leaving. And then in the end, you don't get the job you want, and then you stay stuck in the same place. It's very embarrassing. I've seen this happen to people. I've seen people say, oh, I'm looking for a senior position. I'm going to leave. I want to become this. I want to become that. And then everybody knows that they're leaving. They start applying for jobs, look, and they're not successful. They don't get an interview. And everybody knows that they are still there because they've been unable to get a senior position. It is the worst position to be in. You never want to be in that position at all, ever. Because of this, if you're planning to leave and you've not had any job yet, please zip it. Zip it. Yes, zip it. You don't need to tell anybody. Just leave it to yourself. Once you've done the interview and you've got the job, then yes, because you need the reference. You need to speak to somebody and say, look, I've had a job. Do you mind to do a reference? That's still not quitting because you're still employed. Remember that. That's not quitting still. So I'm just giving you the stages to take. I'm just giving you the journey that you have to go through, the step-by-step process that you need to follow in order to get there. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, look, I don't want you to be a stranger on here. I'm sure you're enjoying these tips. You're loving these career progression tips. So just hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification button, because you want to be the first to be notified every single time when I drop a new video on here on this channel. So if you're also enjoying the content, I want you to like the video. So when you approach the person and you say, look, I've had a job in XYZ place. Do you mind to give me a reference, please? If they say yes, then obviously you go ahead and give their details to your new employer. If they say no, then you need to approach a different person. At that stage, even if they go and gossip about it and tell everyone else, at least you know that you've got the job already. So you then approach the next person. So you need to approach people from the best person that you know that is most likely to give you a reference to the least likely person. So you start from the most likely to the least likely, because if the first person accepts, then fine, off you go. If the person says no for whatever reason, then you get to the next person, and so on and so forth. So once you've gone through that stage, assuming you've got your reference, then the next thing you need to do is organize your start date with the new employer. You need to organize, when are you starting work. Once you've organized your start date, which means you've got your contracts, you've got all your pre-employment checks, you've got everything on sleek and ready, then you need to plan how to officially quit from your current job. And look, how much notice you give, you need to think about notice, because in some places you need to give 2 months notice before you can leave. In some places you can just leave immediately. It depends on the job. In other places, there are processes to follow. You need to ring your HR and make sure that you're aware of what process you need to follow where you're working. If there's a notice period, it's also going to influence how much time you give to your new employer, as well as the start date that you organize with your new employer. Because if you need to give a notice period of 2 months with your current employer, you need to make sure that your start date is more than 2 months from now, obviously. Otherwise, you're going to get stuck. So once you've organized all of that, you speak to your HR. Obviously, they'll give you all the info, and then you need to plan how to actually quit, as in how to tell your manager. Because ideally, you don't want your manager to hear from other people that you're leaving, especially if you had a manager who's been so terrible, who's been like a nightmare manager. You don't want to go to them and say, look, I think you've been an absolute nightmare, and I'm so pleased to leave because you've been XYZ, and I hope I never get to see you again. Because no, you don't want to do that. You want to be so graceful, you want to be respectful, you want to be full of finesse, you want to be full of grace and empathy as well. Because the truth is, no matter how horrible a manager is, they still want you to stay, isn't it? Because you're doing the work. Once you leave, it's more work for them. So you want to make sure that you're very graceful. First, again, one of the things I always say is you don't just want to write a letter, resignation letter, and just drop to them, or an email. Hi, manager, I'm leaving. No, you want to sit down, look at all the positive things that have happened while you've worked in that place. You want to focus on the positives. Like I say, no matter how much you've hated the job, how awful it's been, how horrible it's been, you want to dwell on the positives because you're leaving anyway. You're not going to be there. It can be a terrible place, but you're leaving to a new place. So you sit down, you do all those points, and then you look for the best positive points. Yes, that's what you're going to use to resign. Yes, you're going to say, look, thank you very much, Manager X. You've been incredibly supportive over the 5 years I've been here. Even though you're also there thinking, not really. But again, like I say, you never leave a job with negativity. You always leave on a positive note, irrespective of how the journey itself has been, because it's one of the top rules when it comes to recruitment and when it comes to moving gracefully as well to your new employer. You don't want to move with grudges because you're moving anywhere, so there's no need maintaining those grudges and being annoyed with anybody. So you need to thank them, for how helpful they've been. You need to It's always good to give a reason why. You say, maybe, for example, I'm relocating from London to Birmingham, so I'm not able to work here anymore because of the distance, and I just want to thank you for how helpful and supportive you've been towards me over the past 5 years. I wish you the very best. And then you always need to include, obviously, your notice date, your last date at work, and all of those things should be included. And if, for example, you're a nurse, then there's what we call bank, which is working extra shifts. Sometimes some people can resign from their permanent position but stay on a temporary basis. If you want that, you do need to include that within that letter, because otherwise somebody can just end up removing you from all the system, which you don't want. Again, I've seen that happen in the past, usually with some really terrible managers, and they just go and delete you from the system, take you off, and people have even missed pay, people have lost payment even while they're still working there. The managers just go and delete them completely from the system, which again is a terrible thing to do. So you need to be as explicit in that letter as possible. Put down as much information as possible. Obviously, it's not an essay. You don't need to write so much. It's just bullet points. Hi, it's been a pleasure to work with you. I really appreciate your support. But because I'm relocating from London to Birmingham, I would like to resign because I will not be able to commute this far. This is just an example. My last day at work is going to be on the 1st of December, 2024. And I would like to stay on the bank to maintain my temporary contract, but I'm resigning from my permanent job. And I want my notice of 2 months to start from today, because you're going to sign and date the letter. So that shows a lot of respect, without mentioning any negativity, without having any emotions that are going to, cause any sort of a scene. You don't want that. And then once you've done all of that, obviously you've had that conversation, you then have your letter. Obviously, you can then hand in your letter. If they say it's through email, obviously HR would have told you already, then you can do that email. If it's through an actual written letter, then you can do that. It's always good to also have evidence of that, because I've seen a situation where managers have said, oh, you didn't really resign, I didn't know about this and this and that. So you want everything to be dated. You want everything to be signed. You want conversations to be had. So that is a respectful way of actually resigning and making sure that you kind of dot your I's and cut your T's. So again, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, hit subscribe. Don't be a stranger on here. I'm all about career progression tips, how you can progress, excel, and thrive. Just opportunities that you need to be able to live your best life, you know. So whether you're already in the UK or not, it really doesn't matter, because this advice would apply to you anywhere in the world. As long as you're a human being and you're working somewhere, there's going to be a day where you have to resign. Many people dread having to quit a job. Many people dread having to resign. Many people dread having those difficult conversations. But look, it's part and part of your professional journey. It's part and part of being a human being. You know, it happens. Better opportunities come up, better pay, you know, people get married, you have kids, you know, you buy homes. Things happen that would push you to be able to quit your job. So it is not always a bad thing. But like I say, no matter what the experience has been, you always have to focus on the positive aspects of it, because it's incredibly important. What has been your best tip on here? You know, how do you feel about it? How do you, you know, manage your own quitting? There are some instances where I'll say, you need to make sure that, oh, one thing, very important thing, on your last day at work, you always want to go with some snacks. You want to just have a great time with your colleagues. You want to just thank them for supporting you. Like I say, whether they've been supportive or not, it doesn't matter. But you want to leave on a positive note, so that as you're moving across to your new job, you're not carrying that negativity, you're not carrying any negative energy, and all you have are positive vibes that are going to push you to continue thriving in your career. Leave a comment and say, I will implement. Tell me what has been your best tip. How did you resign from your previous job? Do you think these tips are helpful? You know, how would you resign instead? Thank you for watching. Keep watching the video.